As our modern end-of-life practices evolve, we're actually seeing a massive shift in how people choose to remember the loved ones they've lost. Today, we're diving right into Eternal Tides, the art of ocean ash scattering, to uncover the profound symbolism and, honestly, the surprisingly practical realities of scattering ashes at sea.
It brings up this deeply personal question right out of the gate. How do we best honor a life? I mean, humanity has grappled with this for literally centuries, but today, more and more of us are turning away from those conventional methods, looking for a farewell that feels truly authentic. And for so many families, the vast, boundless horizon of the ocean is the absolute perfect answer.
All right, let's get into Section 1, Return to the Ocean, focusing on emotional resonance.
Think about it. The vast, open ocean represents absolute peace, eternity, and a very literal return to nature. This isn't just about picking a scenic spot, right? It's deeply psychological. The expansive, serene water actively encourages reflection and healing. It offers this profound sense of closure by symbolizing the act of letting go, all while keeping a permanent connection to something massive and enduring.
Moving right along to Section 2, Why Choose Sea Scattering? The Practical Benefits.
Now, the contrast here is super striking. Traditional full-body cemetery burials kind of lock you into fixed locations with rigid structures and, frankly, heavy logistical requirements. Ash scattering completely flips that paradigm. It provides incredible freedom, flexibility, and accessibility, making the whole thing far easier to arrange.
And a huge driver behind this trend? Affordability. As highlighted by the resources at the funeral program site, choosing a more budget-friendly route absolutely doesn't mean sacrificing meaning. Without the crushing financial burden of a traditional funeral, families are empowered to design a highly authentic tribute that aligns perfectly with their own personal values. It's a real game changer.
Plus, for the environmentally conscious among us, this is an absolutely crucial factor. Cremated remains are naturally composed, which means they do not pose any threat to marine life. For those who prioritize sustainability, this makes ocean scattering a highly responsible choice that actively protects our fragile ocean ecosystems.
Which brings us to Section 3, Guidelines and Ocean Protection, covering rules and regulations.
The absolute magic number to remember here is 3. To balance our emotional needs with strictly protecting the environment, the EPA in the United States requires that ashes be scattered at least 3 nautical miles from shore, out in open ocean waters. This rule ensures the practice remains entirely safe and sustainable for our coastlines.
Okay, on to Section 4, Steps to Plan a Ceremony, going over the steps and guidelines. Planning this out actually breaks down into a really manageable 3-step journey. First, you decide on your location, making sure to follow those EPA rules. Second, you coordinate with a licensed provider to ensure total legal compliance. And third, you arrange your specific package. And what's truly fascinating and I think incredibly comforting is that modern providers often give you the exact GPS coordinates of the scattering site. That gives you a permanent touchstone out there in the vast ocean to remember forever. You also have complete freedom over the scale of the whole shebang. Depending on local regulations, do you want a deeply intimate farewell? You can just charter a private boat for close family. Prefer something a bit more structured? Organized group services can handle all the logistics for you. Even shoreline ceremonies are an option in some areas. The point is, the ceremony scales completely to exactly what your family wishes.
Now, the ceremony itself is where the emotional weight really takes shape. Families love to personalize these farewells with moments of silence, special readings, or music. A super common and honestly beautiful practice is the release of flowers right into the water. Furthermore, the use of biodegradable urns is incredibly popular right now. These urns ensure absolutely no harmful materials are introduced to the environment. They float briefly on the surface before gently sinking, adding a highly visual, deeply symbolic element to the act of letting go. Alternatively, some folks choose to simply release the ashes directly into the wind or water, letting nature itself carry them away.
Of course, we have to mention that this practice intersects deeply with various cultural and religious beliefs. While some traditions completely embrace ash scattering as a beautiful return to the elements, others have highly specific guidelines regarding exactly how and where it should happen. Ensuring the ceremony respects and properly aligns with these specific traditions is a vital, absolutely essential part of the planning process.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the continuing life cycle, offering a profound reflection.
Ultimately, returning ashes to the sea is this incredibly powerful reframing of how we view the end. As the source material beautifully puts it, it's not just a farewell, it is a continuation of the cycle of life, carried forward by the tides. It allows families a way to let go while maintaining an ongoing permanent connection to something totally natural and eternal.
As more and more people seek out these highly personalized tributes, it leaves us with a pretty profound question to consider. How will your legacy connect with the timeless beauty of the natural world? Understanding the practical steps, the environmental care, and the deep emotional resonance of ocean scattering really shows us exactly why the sea continues to call to us, even at the very end. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and we'll catch you next time.